This is the Living in Mid-Bloom podcast, lighthearted and heartfelt conversations about what it looks like to live, heal, and blossom in middle age. I'm your host, April Pruitt. Let's get our bloom on. Hello, my mid-bloomers. How are you? I'm doing fine, though, as usual, my journey is up and down and all over the place. I had a really big panic attack a few weeks ago. And it was one of those things, I didn't know what was happening until I calmed down to realize I just had a panic attack. I had no idea that that's what it was, but anyway, I think what I'm learning is that having a panic attack or whatever is going on, the focus doesn't have to be just that, because the days and weeks, hours, minutes, they're going to change. So that happened. Okay, let me work through it. What can I do to help myself the next time something like that should occur? Will I be more prepared? Will I be paying more attention to my body and my mind and maybe see something that's headed that way? And I will tell you, I actually had a panic attack today, but it was a lot, probably like a tenth of what that was a few weeks ago, because I was more prepared, because I realized, why am I feeling uncomfortable? Why can't I catch my breath? And so learning from that, I knew what I needed to do. But before I get into all of that, I'm trying to mention things that are like on my mind. So in addition to the panic attack, I had a doctor's appointment a couple of months ago, and everything was fine. You know, there were a few tests, like my iron was low, a few things I want to get checked out, but I hadn't had a colonoscopy for at least 10 years. And it was hard enough for the doctor to get me to come in on the appointment. I hate doctor's appointments, so don't be a knucklehead and skip them. Go to them. I got this Cologuard kit in the mail. He said, it's really easy, just deal with it. Just do it, it's easy. So I've had the box for a few weeks now, and I actually just opened it today. So my goal is to get this done within a week. I'll let you know on the next episode if I've done that. So I encourage anybody who's had a Cologuard box sitting in their home, taking up space, is to get it done. Get it done. It's like, what do they call it? The collection kit? I wonder what that means. Let's get back to the panic attack. Initially, I know it happened because I've been making some, what I feel are big moves. I'm doing things that I didn't think were possible for me to do. I'm stepping way out of my comfort zone and pushing through things. And when you're feeling uncomfortable, I know in my head, it says, wait a minute, what are you doing? We're not comfortable here. Take a step back. But no, kept pushing forward. So, I've been doing this podcast for about 2 years, and I love it. But there have been other things that I want to do. I'm working on a book, and I've always been passionate about voice acting. I used to volunteer for a newspaper in Illinois, and I would read parts of this local newspaper. And I really enjoyed doing that. I'm also a singer, so my voice has really been something that I use for singing, speaking, whatever. And I thought, well, let me just go ahead and just kind of start doing that. So I'm venturing into the voice acting stuff. So I find a coach on Fiverr. I'm going to put her info on the platform. She's been awesome. I would tell you there was someone that I had found first, Sky, and I let him know what I was looking for. And he said, "Oh, that's great. I'm out of town, but I'll come back and get back to you." Great. So he came back to me with some kind of, I guess, package and said, "Oh, you just need to accept." And I'm like, well, we haven't even had a conversation yet. So anyway, that didn't pan out. And maybe that was for the best because I've got Annamarie, who I've been working with, and she's awesome. So working with her and then finding out other things that I need. Right now, I do my podcast in my living room. I don't have a separate space. But for the voice acting, for any work that I'm going to do, it really needs to be more pristine. So Annamarie has helped me find things that I need to set up a home office. I mean, I could go to a studio, but that would cost me money. And that would kind of not make sense since I'm doing this one because I love it, but also I'd like to make a living at it. And spending money on a studio, going to a studio versus creating one at home, I think was the best thing to do. So I've actually ordered everything. I have everything. It's all still in its packages because my second bedroom that I want to use is full of stuff. If you've been listening, you know that I tend to have stuff, but that is another goal to maybe move that stuff to another place so I can get the office set up. So it's a whole thing going through all these, these little steps just to get to that goal. So the other thing I needed to do was set up a platform on different websites like Fiverr, and then there's voices.com, and then there's upwork.com, where I essentially sell my wares. And as my podcast coach, Sam, I'll have her info on there too, is suggested get some friends, do some work for your friends. Don't charge them, but then have them, once you've done the work, have them put a review on your site. And I thought, well, that's a great idea. So I started that process and I got myself stuck a little, kind of put on the brakes a little bit because I got a little nervous, and my friends have been extremely understanding. And so I've actually finished one of 3 projects. So we're in that process of, she's put her info out there, just setting everything up to make it make sense, that she hired me. I did all the work. It was a series of meditations, but I did the work and made sure she was happy with the work. So that felt very good. So now I've got a children's book that I want to work on with a dear friend. So taking these steps forward, it's one of those things that I didn't, it's something, you dream about and then you see it kind of coming to fruition. What's happening is you're actually making those moves. I didn't have everything, I still don't have everything completely in place for people to hire me, but someone actually hired me on Fiverr to do an intro for a new podcast. It was like a minute long, and they were willing to pay me $115. I'm like, what? So long story short, I did it. I got myself a little stressed out because I had to make sure that it was good sound quality, which meant that I couldn't have my cat saying anything in the background because I don't think they would want that added to their intro. But I got it done. I didn't get a tip. I didn't get a review, but the work was completed. So I was happy with that. I felt I could have done a better job. But as Annamarie pointed out, that I'm just getting started here. And that was really unexpected. The next thing that kind of brought me to the panic attack as all these things are happening is we were preparing for an extensive meeting to really get everything in place and get organized so we can get things just rolling out. So I knew it was a very important meeting. So earlier in the week, I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday, but a couple of days before that, I was just eating. I wasn't even allowing myself to think. I just stuffed watch TV stuff. I wasn't doing anything, though I knew I had to prep for this meeting. Then the night before, I couldn't sleep. I was probably up until about 4 in the morning. And the meeting, I believe, was around 1 o'clock. So as I'm trying to, get prepared, I'm feeling, I could tell I was feeling kind of short of breath. I was just feeling anxious. I was not connecting it to anything other than I don't know what's happening. So here I am. I'm breathing. I'm feeling scared. I don't know why I'm feeling scared. I was sweating, and I just thought, okay, April, you're all right. You're okay. But what I did was I sent a text to a friend who happens to be a neighbor, and I said, "Are you home?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Can you come over?" So I'm crying as I'm sending this text. My meeting is about to happen, so I need to get on to tell my coach that I can't do the meeting because I'm a mess. So I'm trying to get on the Zoom. My neighbor's already at my door. I answer it and I'm crying, and she doesn't even know what is happening. I get back on the Zoom. My coach is there and I'm crying. I said, I can't do this meeting. I slammed the laptop down, and my friend's like, "You're shaking." And so she sat down with me. She took my hands and helped me control my breathing. I could cry, I'm crying, I'm shaking, I'm struggling breathing, but we're doing this for about 15, 20 minutes. I'm calmed down, still struggling breathing. I thought, I just had a panic attack. And she's shaking her head. Yeah. She has a background. She's a licensed social worker, so she understands how this whole process works. And I'm so grateful that she happened to be home, that she was available to be with me. I was grateful for that. If she wasn't available, my next call would have been to my spiritual coach. And then after that, it probably would have been my cousin. So I had things in place to get help. I'm grateful that I've learned enough that we don't have to go through these things alone. We need to have a community. And I've always talked about that, having a community of people that you trust. My circle is small because those people just don't come by easily. They don't, because we've all maybe gone through things, but we're living out our joy. Doesn't mean everything is perfect, but it means that we're all willing to do the work and to live the lives that we deserve. So I'm grateful that I have people like that in my life. So what I have to say really is, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay. Try to keep the mind body connection, because the first thing I do is disconnect because I don't want to feel anything, because I'm afraid of those feelings. I think that's because my childhood trauma, and the best thing I did to protect myself was not feel anything. So feelings have always been kind of a catch-22 for me. But I'm learning more. And I had a little panic attack today. It was actually, okay, Allie. Hi, Allie. I'm busy. But it was a group meeting I had today. And I was a little nervous about it, but it was great. It's a group of folks that are dreamers. And we have the same coach, and we're working to keep those dreams alive and keep pushing through. And it was really beneficial. It was really positive. I was so grateful that I stuck with it, but I got some anxiety later. So I did some breathing exercises. Okay, Allie, please. And then actually I took a nap with the kitties and drinking water, had some hot tea. So it took a while for me to get more relaxed, but I understand what I need to do. I'm grateful that I was very aware of it and that I'm learning. And I think that's what we can all do. If you can get anything out of this, is that, you don't have to handle every situation alone. I reached out. And I'm grateful that I had people there to be able to talk through or work through. And I have to keep reminding myself, I remind you, is don't push your emotions away because they are going to be there waiting for you, whether you like it or not. Once I got done chowing down and stopped watching mindless TV, oh, the feelings are still there. Yes, Allie. Okay, sweetheart. I guess I want to say that I feel like I'm going through this personal growth through my podcast, and that's what part of it is for. Sure, it's about living in mid bloom and people of a certain age that are kind of looking back at their lives, looking at what do we want to do. A lot of people that have changed are living their passions now. And I think it's the strength that you build over the years and you start to understand more and more what you really want out of this life. So I encourage you all to take action. And if you're struggling with something, call a friend, call a relative, call somebody you trust. I leave you with that. It's okay to be scared. The thing is that you try to recognize what is going on and then do what you need to do to work through that. So I thank you so much, my mid bloomers. I love you all so much. And I thank you for listening. And please invite your friends to listen. If you find this positive, if you find this helpful, please leave a review. It's much appreciated. All right, everyone, take care. Bye. Thank you for joining me today on Living in Midbloom. I hope you found this episode insightful, meaningful, and maybe it's given you something to think about. I invite you to share your positive reviews or ideas on topics you would like me to touch on by leaving your comments on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Castbox, Podchaser, or Podcast Addict. We are all divine beings who just want to be seen, heard, and loved. Have a beautiful day.